I'll just say good morning to make sure this all works. Am I working? Is it all working? It's so fun to be here. We have heard about York for our whole entire lives, and I never ever even thought I would come to Nebraska, and much less come to York. I mean, I went to Harding. John and I were Harding people, and from Harding at that time, people would transfer from York to come to Harding. So we met several students who had been students at York, and we just, I don't know, it's neat. It's like I've gone to, it's like the Wizard of Oz. I'm someplace like I'm not in Kansas anymore. It's strange, and it's like really cold here, and so I was kind of expecting, because you know we have our cell phones and we know what the weather's going to be like, but you sometimes hope it's not true. You think that can't be so. It's April, you know. But so I'm wearing a coat today, and I didn't plan to. I had a cute dress, but sorry, that's just the way it is. Okay, now we get asked a couple of questions every time we go anywhere. One of them is always Cy like he is on TV. And we always say, no, he's much worse than he is on TV. They edit him on TV, and so you don't see everything that he says, and he's just hilariously funny and just a great sport. He will absolutely do anything. If you saw him at the DC 500 last week, 2 weekends ago, he wore an orange jumpsuit that my best friend designed and spent 6 weeks sewing every glitter piece on it. She is a graduate of Abilene, an incredibly talented lady. And with Cy, I mean, it was Liberace meets Elvis meets Evel Knievel. It was everything. And Cy put it on, and he said, it's perfect. He loved every bit of that. So he's just a great sport and great fun. And then the next question we get asked a lot is, why aren't y'all on the show? And I'm really getting kind of offended about that, because we are on the show, and I'm kind of sad that people don't notice. So I brought a few clips, like, okay, this is the first season, the anniversary party on the right, and the scene in the restaurant. We were probably, I was on there a good second on each one of them. Okay, season 2. This episode is called The Grass and the Furious. If you remember it, it was the race car, the lawnmower races. And so again, we added another second. Now in that episode, they showed me a couple of times, so I could be up to 3 seconds now. It's adding up. And then in season 3 and 4, I'm in the dark, but you can tell which one is me. I'm definitely clearly in the episode. And then I was strategic in this one and got right behind Phil. Knowing Phil would get on camera, then I strategically placed myself behind him. But the sad news is, if you're behind Phil, they're not going to notice you because they're watching Phil dance. So I've learned a valuable lesson on that one. Okay, then the next season, this is called Boomerang Rebecca, when Rebecca comes back. So we're getting closer, and I strategically placed myself by Korie in that one, you know, with the hope that I would be, you know, on camera. So sure enough, there I am with Korie. There's my mom on the left. Johnny got a little bit in that episode, so he's on there. There's Bella in the front. And then season 5, which we're now, was titled Stand By Mia. So this was really my debut part, because I even had a speaking part. Did any of you see that? Oh, there's one person seeing it. So there it is. Sadly, yes, they actually said, Korie, John Luke and Sadie are interviewing, and they come up and say, how are you related to the Robertsons? And I say, I'm Corey's mom. And John Luke says, prove it. And then we all started on laughing. But I had an actual speaking part, and felt really good about that. So here's my answer now to people. If you want to see me longer, you just do like I do, just pause it. I can do an entire hour you can watch me on that show. So it really is. It's great fun to be a part of, and we'll answer some more of your questions more about the show later on this afternoon, those of you who come to watch it, because we've got all kinds of backstories that are involved. I am the tutor, the onset tutor. My degree is elementary education. I taught school for several years before I went on to publishing and other things that I did. But when the show started, they informed us that the kids would have to have a tutor that's just law. They have to be tutored 3 hours a day on the days that they film. And my degree was education for Marty. And so I said, okay, that's a great job for me. Sounded like a really good idea 2 years ago. Now, 2 years later, there's 9 or 10 of them, I don't know, and keeping up with everybody's schedule, everybody's teachers, telling every teacher who's filming when, who needs what, can I have their homework. It's a lot of times like that old classroom where I've got River, who's in kindergarten, and Reed, who's a senior, all in the same room. We're trying to keep all of our grades up. Very proud of the kids. I don't even know how they make the grades they make. They are doing so well. Sadie will miss 2 weeks straight, counting last week and this week coming up. The teachers are, oh, you can take that down. the teachers are so good. They're at a Christian school, really work with us, work with the kids, and just help them keep up their stuff. So I do get to be around the kids a lot. Sadie, they'll ask Sadie a lot of times in her questionnaire, they'll say, well, do you feel closer to your family, or has it made you not want to be close to them? And she always says closer because we really get to be together every day in some way or another. They do live next door to us, so a lot of times the filming is in our neighborhood. We'll wake up and their trucks are lined up all down the neighborhood, and a lot of times it's down at Bill and Kay's or it's on location somewhere. So we just get to be a part of it a lot, and that's a lot of fun. We do have 11 grandchildren. They range from age 9 to 24, counting Rebecca. Rebecca's the exchange student that came to live with Korie 9 years ago from Taiwan. Her story is a little unique. She was born in America, so she has dual citizenship, and that's why she was able to stay in America and be here for 9 years. So we call her our Taiwanese granddaughter and daughter, and so they range from age 9 to 24. 7 of them are in middle school right now. Literally, my car is like Diary of a Wimpy Kid every day. It's just the craziest middle school talk. And so if we survive middle school, I will be very happy. They are always telling me things that I need to know. I'm always learning from my grandchildren. And those of you who are parents and grandparents know we learn so much from our kids. The other day, Bella picked up my iPhone and informed me that I had too many apps on my phone. Now, when I got my iPhone like 5 years ago, Bella's 11, so what, 5 years ago? She was 7, 6. She looked at my phone and said, "Tim, Mom, you don't have any apps." And I'm like, what is an app? I have no idea. Well, now she told me I have too many apps. So she starts deleting apps that she thinks are not important. She's like, oh, you don't need this. You don't need this, you know. So they're always teaching us something. The other day, Sadie was telling me that dating has changed since I was in school, because they were having a conversation about a friend of hers who was upset that another friend had started dating the boyfriend of the previous person, and it had only been 2 weeks. And I said, he broke up with her. I mean, why can't she date somebody else? I mean, it's been 2 weeks. Tim, Mama, you don't understand. That's just not enough time. You know, things have changed. They call me Tim, Mama. And I said, well, it's been 2 weeks. And then she said, 2 weeks, again, is not long enough. You have to leave enough time there. And then I said, she's 12. How much time do you need? They haven't even gone anywhere. And then that's when Sadie said, things have just changed since you were dating Tim, Mama. I'm like, okay, clearly they have. Well, one of the most valuable lessons that I learned several years ago came from John Luke. John Luke is my firstborn grandchild. Of course, Rebecca came along later. The kids all say that he's my favorite. That is not true. However, every password I have, if you ever want to get on my phone, is John Luke something. So they say, he's your favorite, he's your favorite. No, he's not. He's just the firstborn. Now, do I have any firstborn grandchildren in here? Do you feel like you're the favorite of your grandparents? Yeah, well, so maybe it's just a tiny. Well, John Luke is 18 now. When he was 8, we were going to the store, and I'll never forget this. He was in the back seat, and I'm driving, you know, and we're just talking. He said, Tim, Mama, I've learned 3 things in life. And he's 8, so I'm just like riveted at everything he says anyway, because he's adorable, has those adorable dimples, so cute. And I said, John, what have you learned? And what are the 3 things you've learned in life? I mean, seriously, I want to know. I don't know that I could think of 3 things at that point. And he said, I've learned you have to work hard, you have to play hard, and you have to expect the unexpected. And I was like, totally blown away. And then he said, and do you know what the hardest one of those three is? And I said, no, sweetie, what is that? He said, expecting the unexpected. Of course, I literally am blown away that this little 8-year-old said that. Not only was he brilliant, he was prophetic. He must have seen something coming in the future of their life that we didn't even know was going to happen. So, you know, right now you're doing things in life, in college. You're taking classes and you're doing speeches and you're playing sports and you're doing all kinds of things. And you don't even know what you're going to use those things for yet. And that's the key. That's the thing that I think John Luke was trying to say as an 8-year-old, and that I think it's the most valuable lesson today, because we don't know what God has in store for all of us. You don't know what God has in his plans for your life. I do know this about the Robertsons. They are not living their dream. None of them set out. Sadie never said, I think I'm going to have a prom dress line, or I think I'm going to have this, I think I'm going to be in the show, I think I'll sing in a Christmas album. Never said those words. None of them said those kind of things. They're not living their dream. They're living God's dream for them. This is so totally unexpected for a small town family to become the most popular family in America today. Never dreamed they would be on late night talk shows, early morning news shows, the cover of Us magazine. I see those today. We'll go through the airport and we're like, oh, there's Korie. Oh, how weird is that? And I'll say something like, wait, when did the abnormal become normal? You know, it's normal now for them to be in a magazine or be on TV, but it's still not normal in our world at all. It's totally unexpected, not something they had planned for. And so why is that? Why is it that it's so hard, like John Luke said, it's hard to expect the unexpected? And why is that? Just the very nature of that word unexpected means you can't plan for it. You don't know what's going to come. But there still are things that you can plan to do in your life to be prepared for the unexpected. And that's what I see that the Robertsons have done. And that's what you're doing now, attending a college like this, playing sports, getting your education. You're preparing yourself for whatever God brings your way. That's the important thing. I look back at my life, and I majored in education because I wanted to teach. Didn't know really what I was going to do with it. Really didn't plan to use it right off the bat. I was already pregnant with Korie when I was at Harding. Played all my intramural sports with Korie while I was pregnant with her. Played basketball. I thought she's no wonder. She's just the most laid-back person. That's probably why. We just did whatever. We were young and nobody told us not to. So we did. Then I had Ryan real quickly after that and Ashley real quickly after that. And I thought, well, you know, I probably won't ever use that degree. Johnny had a job that supported us fine. And then I started subbing at the Christian school, and when I was subbing, I noticed that a lot of kids had learning problems, and they struggled with their learning, and I thought, man, we need a program to support this. But I didn't have a degree in that type of education, and didn't quite know how to make that happen. But I had a brother with severe learning differences, and had spent my life helping him and tutoring him and all that. So I went to the counselor who happened to be my sister, and I said, you know what, we need a program that supports children with learning problems. And for 10 years, I was the director of a program that served hundreds of children. And now today, they're adults, and they will sometimes Facebook me and say, thank you so much for what you did for me. And this was totally unexpected when I started my degree in education. Not something I thought. I didn't know how God would use that, but he did. He figured out how to do that. Later, when I finished teaching, my husband said, I really hadn't finished teaching, I was still teaching, and my husband had started a Christian publishing company. He said, we really need you to come join the company. We're, you know, we don't have enough people. We don't really know what we're doing. It was a brand new company. And I said, I have no idea what I would do for a publishing company. And so I told the school, I said, I need to move on. And my kids had graduated and had been there for 10 years. And so the first day at work at the publishing company, they cleared out a closet and put a desk in it for me. I was honored by that. And I remember sitting at the desk thinking, what am I going to do? The only experience I've had in publishing was the yearbook staff in high school. And I was pretty much just social about that. I loved everybody on the yearbook staff, and you know, I didn't major in English. I didn't have any kind of a background that would support a publishing company. But I took 1 year of solid learning from everybody in the company and just watched and listened and went to events and talked to authors and speakers. And as he said in the introduction, since that time I've edited over 100 books and most recently got to work with Kay on her cookbook, which was really a big joke because I don't cook. You see Korie on the show and she says she doesn't cook, and bless her heart, she's like me. Our favorite recipe is the Johnny's Pizza phone number. So we're just not, no, we're not the cooks. But through the cook, but you know, I told Willie, would say, what, you're writing Mom's cookbook? That's like crazy because he doesn't trust me on lots of levels in the kitchen. He's like, never trust a skinny cook and never trust me, no. And so I said, I don't have to cook, I have to be able to write. Kay's gonna cook and I'm gonna write. So we had a great collaboration and great fun writing that cookbook, and she'd come over, I'd go out to her house and I'd have to quiz Phil on what's etouffee recipe, and he'd go find it on a napkin somewhere, and he'd try to round up a recipe, and just great fun. But if I hadn't have had the experience from Howard Publishing, I wouldn't have been able to do that. They called me from Simon & Schuster, which is now the division is Howard Books. It's still named, it still has our name attached to it, and said, you know, you are the only one who can do that. You're on the ground, you're right there by them. In 6 weeks, we need a 240-page cookbook with 140 recipes and stories and quotes and scriptures and all that. I'm like, y'all are insane. Our agent even told them, they said, nobody in their right mind will write that book for you. And they said, oh, Chrys will do it. And so it's just a God thing that God put me through those years at Howard Publishing, that I was able to sit down with Kay and make this book happen. So here's the deal. This is the short message. John Wick was right. We have to work hard, we have to pray hard, and then we have to play hard, and then we have to be ready for that unexpected. And how we get to that is through that hard work that leads us up to that. A couple of scriptures I love, Jeremiah 29:11, and I know you all know this. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. God wants only the very best for you and for me and for my John Wick and Sadie, all my 11 grandkids. He wants plans that for you to prosper, and how we get to that are following those steps that God lays out for us. But there's another scripture that I really love. This is Psalms 5:3. It says, in the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my request before you, and I wait unexpectedly. So it's really this. It's really work hard. It's really pray hard. And then it's expect the unexpected, because God will deliver that. Our God is a God of surprises. And if you don't believe that, you just read the whole Bible and you look at Noah and you look at Samson, you look at David, you look at those. He is a God full of surprises for you. And wait expectantly for what that will be. God will deliver something mighty for you. Now, just before we leave, super quickly, I have a couple of just little, door prize kind of things. So, if you know the answer to this, raise your hand. Does anybody here know Cy's full name? Oh, what is it?
Cy Robertson.
Oh, it's got a middle name. Anybody know the middle name? You don't know the middle name? Okay. Then that's going to have to be close enough. And you've got a signed copy of Cy's picture here. There you go. Okay, does anybody know, raise your hand if you know the name of Sadie's YouTube Bible study she's been doing this last year? Nobody. Do you know it? Seriously? No? YouTube video? You're lost? Does anybody know Sadie's middle name? This is really crazy. I couldn't even, when they told me, I was like, why are you naming it that? Sadie's middle name is Caraway. That's Kay's maiden name. She's Sadie Caraway. Okay, let me see. If you know the name of the sport Sadie plays in school, raise your hand. Basketball. Basketball, all right. Signed copy of Sadie Robertson. All right, now, this next one This is a basketball player, so she knows. Sadie's a basketball player. All right, this is kind of a tough one. John Luke recently got a haircut because of what reason? Do you know why? What did he have? What was wrong with his hair?
It was a mullet.
It was a mullet! Yes! You may want to trade with the girls who got the Sadie. But isn't he adorable? Okay, let's see. This is the last giveaway. Let me think of, okay. Raise your hand if you know the name of the beardless brother. The beardless brother.
Jess?
Jess? Yes. No, actually, a little background on that. Jess is Willie. Willie and Jess are the same person. So if you see a picture of Willie and it says Jess under it, that's when he was cute. That's when we called him a chick magnet. Now we're just like bearded.
Is it Alan?
Alan, that's it. So you got the signed copy of all of the guys. Thank you guys. We're excited about spending our day with you today at York and eating in the cafeteria and doing all the fun things that college kids get to do. We love that.